Welcome everybody to Kitchenorama. Hope you all are staying safe and getting ready for holidays. If I'm not in the kitchen, this is where you can find me. For this holiday season, let's make something that is absolutely gluten-free, dark chocolate nutty bombs or dark chocolate truffles. Now for this recipe, I have used 1 cup of chopped pitted dates. I am using these dates that do not have seeds. I got these from a Pakistani store and I've chopped them finely into pieces. I'm using 1 cup of dried desiccated coconut. I'm using 1 cup of finely chopped almonds. If you get almond flakes at any stores, you can just put them in a blender, and some chopped pistachios. I'm roughly using about half a cup of chopped pistachios. I'm also using about 1.5 cup of 60% cocoa bittersweet chocolate chips from Ghirardelli. I really like them, and I'm also using some dark cocoa powder for dusting. This is totally optional, and I'm using a silicone spatula because there's going to be a lot of mixing and a lot of melting of chocolate. So let's get started. I've turned the Instant Pot on saute mode, and as my Instant Pot starts warming up, I'm gonna go ahead and put all my chopped dates. Now these dates are really ripe and they chop very easily. I'm gonna give them a good mix. Once that's mixed up, all I have to do is just keep adding all my dried ingredients, which is my 1 cup of chopped almonds. Now again, there is no hard and fast rule of how many different kinds of nuts you can use or what the proportion should be. There is no set value or measurements for this. You can add as much or as little as you would like to. The binding ingredient and the most important ingredient that helps shape up your truffles or your nut balls into circular shapes is the dates. So make sure you're not using any less of dates, at least a cup to cup and a half. I'm gonna go ahead and place any lid on top of the Instant Pot for about roughly 5 minutes, and after that you will start smelling an awesome coconutty aroma coming out of your mixture. Give it a good turn and a twist, and I'm gonna check one piece of the date, and it is so easily mushing as if it's very soft and tender and cooked now. Once that's done, turn off your IP off, take the contents into a glass bowl, or if you have a regular steel bowl, you can do that. Now remember, this is hot and nice and toasty, so be careful when you're handling this mixture. I could not press this mixture together, so I'm going to use something to help me. I'm using a wooden spatula, I would like to call it. This is very easily available in our households where we make lentils on a regular basis. But if you don't have anything as hard as this, what you can do is you can use the back of a heavy metal spoon, especially a serving spoon, and start binding your mixture together. What you're really trying to do is you're trying to mush the dates into the nut powder that you just added. Now once it cools off a little bit, you can see I'm using my bare hands to kind of get the mixture together, and you can see as I start squeezing it, it starts coming all well. Now it's still a little, I'm trying to make sure all the date pieces are nice and mushed up. And now I'm gonna use my bare hands. I'm gonna take smaller portions, and I'm just gonna make sure that again, you can take as much as you want or you can take as little as you want. And I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze it together. I'm gonna go with some decent sized bite-sized balls. I'm just gonna roll them into circular balls, pressing it evenly, and then give it a good twirl between both hands, and boom, there you are. Your nut ball is now ready. Now if you do not find vegan chocolate chips, you don't want to coat them with chocolate, you can devour them just like this. Or if you are okay, you can now go ahead to the next step where you're going to melt some chocolate and coat these with chocolate chips. While I'm using the bain-marie technique here for my chocolate chips, which means my Instant Pot has some water, I'm gonna let it cook so it becomes steamy, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put my chocolate chips into a bowl, and I'm just gonna keep mixing my chocolate chips till they become nice and melty. I'm using a baking tray and I'm putting a metal rack on top of it. This is something I'm gonna be needing. Once the water starts steaming up, you're gonna go ahead and give your chocolate chips a good mix so that they start melting. Now remember the nut balls that we made. If you would like, it's colder temperatures nowadays, so you don't really have to put them in the refrigerator. But if you're making them during the warmer times of the year, you definitely want to put them into the refrigerators roughly about 30 minutes so they can set well. As you can see that the chocolate chips have started melting, and I'm going to continuously keep stirring it because these chocolate chips are a little hard. They take a little while to melt. You want to make sure there are no lumps and none of the chocolate chips look like they're still there. So you want to make sure you're giving it a good twirl and give it a good mix. And as you can see, that the last few chunks of the chocolate is melting. Give it a good nice stir. This is the most relaxing part of baking. I feel like it's just like when you get to melt the chocolate and see that golden drizzle right there. I have to resist licking that hot spoon. Now I've taken my nut balls are now all set. I did throw them for 30 minutes into the refrigerator, and my chocolate mix is ready. It's not very hot. I let it cool off a little bit, and I'm gonna throw my cold nut balls right into the chocolate mix, which is melted chocolate, and I'm going to use a regular spoon to just coat it around. Just toss it around a little while in the chocolate. It gets coated. Take it off and set it up on the rack. Now if you don't have a rack, you can just line your baking tray with a baking sheet and you can just set these balls on top of that. You definitely want to coat everything well enough so that it's evenly covered. And you would definitely need to put this in the refrigerator at this step for about 15 to 20 minutes so that your chocolate solidifies. So my nut balls are all coated with chocolate. I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator for roughly about 15 minutes, and then once it solidifies, just like it's here, I'm gonna go ahead and take it off from the wire rack gently. It will stick to the wire rack, so please don't freak out. Use a little bit of gentle pressure to kind of take them off. And there you go, perfectly evenly coated. And I'm gonna give it a good generous dust of my cocoa powder. And this gets you to absolutely delicious chocolate coconutty truffles. I'm gonna take a bite. I could not resist, and look at the inside. Beautiful. Quick, easy, healthy. Make these during the holiday seasons and enjoy with friends and families. The prep time is a little more, but the end results are delicious. If you have been enjoying the recipes I've been putting together, do not forget to subscribe and support me. Thank you.